When it comes to must-have smartphone features, on top of everybody's list is a great camera. And one brand in particular has really been making its mark as one of the best camera phone manufacturers in the world. Vivo, which this week in China, they even launched their latest flagship, the Vivo X200. And I'm more than delighted to have Vivo's camera guy to talk to us today about what Vivo is doing in the smartphone space, not just today, but also what they're working on for the future. Please welcome Vivo Product Manager for Imaging Effects, Imaging Cognition Products Department at Vivo, Keshav Chugh.
Oh, it's such an honor being here.
It's great to meet you today. I have a lot of questions and I can't wait to dive in. But first, the cat's out of the bag. You guys have a new smartphone. Can you please tell me about the new X200?
Well, you know, X series is known for its cameras. So of course, that is what we have brought, and we have brought a lot of new things this time. You know, our X100 series, both in terms of the X100 Pro and X100 Ultra, the telephoto was known very well in the whole world. Now this time we are also bringing something new, the best telephoto in the world, to the X200 series as well. Of course, a lot of camera magic that comes with ZEISS.
There's always been two camps, people who love ultra-wide angles, other people love zoom lenses. Why do you think a telephoto camera is so important to have on a smartphone?
The whole industry actually has been going towards telephoto because a lot of people want to shoot things that are far away, or whether it's taking portraits, whether it's 85mm or 100mm or 135mm to shoot their portraits. Also, our users actually don't want just the number, they actually want, you know, usable images from 2 to 20x. So that is why we have been working both in terms of hardware and software.
I've always publicly declared on this channel that I'm a zoom kind of guy. I do love a zoom lens, but the reality is not all zoom lenses are created equal.
That's absolutely true, and you need really good hardware when you have to do that. X100 Ultra and X200 series, when it comes with ZEISS optics, we are able to create so much detail on the sensor. We are able to polish it up with our computation algorithms, the neural networks that we create. It's like a web of a lot of things working together to create the final output.
Well, speaking of ZEISS, this is the perfect time to introduce another person to this conversation. Please welcome Senior Smartphone Technology Manager for ZEISS, Oliver Schindelbeck. Hi, Oliver. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Michael. It's an honor for me being here, and I'm really excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to have both of you here because I'm both a fan of Vivo and ZEISS. And while I have you here, I want to be able to answer a question that's on many users' minds. Every time that we hear of a partnership between a smartphone manufacturer and a lens manufacturer or a camera company, people always think it's just a marketing ploy, but please do settle the score for us.
I can definitely say it's far beyond marketing what we are doing. Marketing is a part of it, as we are talking now, but we have established in the end of 2020 to develop new technologies, to set those new milestones in imaging and bring our expertise and technology to the Vivo smartphones.
Imagine it being one team. We are planning the product together and, you know, figuring out the solution. Okay, what do we need in the optical side? What do we need in the software side? The whole process starts together and ends together, so it's very hard to say who's doing what part. It's a process where we learn from each other.
Keshav, I want to throw it back to you. Why was it important for Vivo to partner with ZEISS, and how did all of this come about?
As a brand that cares about its camera, it was really important for us to have the expertise that ZEISS brings on the table. In 2020, with the X60 series was the first time that we worked together. In the last 4 years, we have done so much together, whether it's ZEISS Natural Color or coming up with new ZEISS lens simulations. ZEISS comes with more than 130 years of optical expertise, and then we have our 25 years of electronics experience. It's kind of a match made in heaven.
You know, I'm a big believer that technology needs to be for all, and one of the first Vivo phones that I ever covered was the V series. And this year, I'm so excited to see that ZEISS partnership come to both the V40 and the V40 Pro. How important is it for you to bring down the best of this Vivo ZEISS partnership to lower price points?
It was really important because working with ZEISS for so many years on X series, we've had a lot of learning. How an image should look and how to recreate those legendary ZEISS bokeh in our portrait. We really wanted to bring it to the V series because in Southeast Asia and in India and now in Europe, the V series is actually really popular. The whole idea of V series is portrait, and now with V40 and V40 V40 Pro, we've brought it throughout the range.
I am really excited about this. As you know, I grew up in Southeast Asia, and I know, Keshav, you grew up in India. Both are price-sensitive markets, so to be able to bring these tools and put them in the hands of users at lower price points is really empowering.
V series is really loved in these markets, especially with younger generation people. We really wanted to bring those features to them as well so they can enjoy those optics as well.
So help me understand it. How different is a V series user versus an X series user?
X series by itself is a professional imaging. It has a lot of features, usually has a little better hardware as well. There are things that will be there which will be, for more content creators or, professional photographers, filmmakers. Those are the kind of people who actually are very attracted to the X series, whereas V series is for regular people who really want to capture their moments with their families, with their friends, or take portraits, very active on social media. So that is the kind of crowd that we are trying to cater to using the V series, and bringing a very high-end professional level imaging to V series was really important.
I totally understand that to push the boundaries of technology, you really need the best tech, and that tech can be expensive. So were there any engineering challenges to make this technology more affordable?
Certainly there are challenges, but that is where ZEISS is also very helpful to us. How do we compress those things and bring it down to a lower hardware? It's all a collaborative feature. Bringing that feature is the target, and even if it's hard, then we still have to do it.
It's really challenging to do so. It's important that we have the X series as a flagship series where we can develop technologies and set the benchmarks to bring these learnings into a real mass market device. That's a challenging thing. We were working intensively to do so.
I love having both of you here, as you kind of represent two of the important markets that Vivo is in. Oliver, you're from Germany, and Europe is a big market for Vivo. And Keshav, you are from Asia, and having been a creator that works in both regions, one thing I've noted is that user preferences can differ quite greatly from the East and the West. So how do you create a device that can service the unique preferences of two distinct markets?
Basically, we are a consumer-centric company, so we really listen to the consumers from all the countries. Just for an example, if you buy a Vivo phone from Europe versus Southeast Asia, the camera effect would not be the same, because we have done years and years of user research. Southeast Asian markets, the people really like to slightly beautify their pictures but still have a natural kind of a look, have a glow on the face, whereas European market people prefer to have natural photos. And then there are other things as well. In Southeast Asia or in India, people really prefer their colors to be very punchy. For them, we have the ZEISS Vivid color science, but there are also users who like to color grade their photos or videos later. Then they really want the natural, clean output from the camera, and that is where ZEISS natural color comes in. I think Oliver can give us some input into how it works as well.
I think it's very important to offer all these options to the consumers, but we also feel that it is very important to offer the natural colors as close to the original color as possible. Starting from that point, it's quite easy to add punchy colors or some filters. And so as a base point, developing these natural colors that are as close as possible to the reality, that was one of our key focus points in the development of the past years, and to optimize this and getting closer and closer by every generation of device.
While beauty is in the eye of the beholder and determining a great photo can be quite subjective sometimes, a great photo intrinsically is a great photo.
As you said, it's in the eye of everyone if you like it or not. Therefore, offering all these options is very charming for a smartphone camera, that you do not need to decide for only one direction to go.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, while there are things like tuning a photo and color science, these factors stay the same. And I guess this is where you guys come in, is to create a camera that can produce a great photo to start with.
Yeah, you need a deep understanding of the complete imaging chain, how everything plays together. It starts with the lens that brings the best possible image to the sensor. You need a good working sensor that can handle these photons that hit the sensor, and you need best possible algorithms and AI to make the best out of this information to bring the perfect picture.
And Keshav, I just really want to say that I appreciate what you guys are doing. Instead of saying we have one solution that fits all, take it or leave it, you're giving users the power to choose how their photos look like in the end.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important to listen to the user. That is why when someone buys our phone, they prefer our color science or our camera technology compared to other brands, because we really want to give users an option of choosing what they like.
Another big trend over the last few years is creating cameras that are more inclusive, being able to accurately represent people of different skin tones. Can you tell me what you guys are doing in this field?
So I spend a considerable amount of my time in tuning skin tones. We really want to be very inclusive, especially on India and Southeast Asia market, because you see the spectrum of skin tones in these market is so big.
And also during the development and certification testing, that's exactly what we are also doing on our side here. We are testing for all these different skin tones, how the performance of the algorithms, of the white balance here of the camera system. We are not just focusing on the pure image quality parameters like contrast or distortion. Nowadays you have to look to a very broad bouquet of things that you have to test to be sure that the image performance of the device be the best possible for the customer.
And now with developments in AI and machine learning, our smartphones are getting smarter that they can identify who's in the foreground, what's in the background, is the subject a person, and then being able to preserve a person's skin tone while playing with other factors in a photo like vibrancy.
Personally, I love these options that we have now because I'm not a photographer, I'm a snap shooter, and honestly, I need these tools to make good images. And on the other hand, naturally, for those people know what they are doing and how to tweak everything like the white balance, exposure values and everything. We are also offering the professional modes.
And I guess, Keshav, going back to your point about the differences between the V series and the X series, it appears to me that the X series is for pro users who know what they want and want more control over a photo, versus the V series being a phone that produces photos that are immediately worthy for posting on social media.
The users of V series are basically very active on social media, so we wanted them to not waste time on editing photos, changing colors, adding filters or using any third-party apps. We just want them to take photos and shoot. There is a lot of computation as well that goes on behind the camera. The camera is figuring out, okay, this is the scene and this is the color, this is the lighting, this is how many people are there in the picture, this is how I need to expose. It's a combination of all these things and then you get the final photo. So the user is actually just pointing and shooting, but we are doing the job for them on the back end to create the best possible picture for them.
I love how complicated all of this sounds on the back end, but how easy and simple it is for users of all kinds.
You know, we wanted to make it very simple for the user because not everyone is a professional photographer. Just point and shoot. Let us and our AI take care of everything else.
This is a question for both of you as hardware guys. In terms of image sensors and optics, have we gotten to a point where we have plateaued, where we've hit a ceiling, or do you think there's more engineering problems that we can solve and much more room to grow in terms of hardware?
You might think, yeah, now we are at the peak of technology and there's nothing new to come. So we have now the biggest sensors, we have 8 lens elements built inside, there's nothing more to come. But with every generation, we were proven that this is definitely not true. Smaller pixels, other lens materials, or better coating technologies that push the boundaries of technology. And that's exactly what we are working for. That is our target.
I completely agree with Oliver on that. Hardware is not anywhere done. When DSLRs came out in the early days, then everyone thought, okay, oh, this is the peak of the industry. And then DSLRs got replaced by mirrorless. We always think right now what we have is the absolute limit and the roof of what can be done by technology, but there are so many developments going on.
Okay, so let's talk about hardware a little bit more. What engineering problems are you hoping to be solved, and where do you really want to see improvements made?
The challenges we are always working on is about the size of camera module, the most critical one on every technology. Bigger sensors make it even more challenging, but on the other side, it opens the space to increase the quality.
Okay, so for Oliver, it's reducing the size of the camera bump. What about you, Keshav?
If we make very good camera smartphone like the X100 series or a V40 series and the X200 series, once the users have used these features, their expectations can only go up. So we have to challenge ourselves to come up with something new, whether it's in hardware or software, keep impressing our users and also maybe users from other brands who want to move to our company as well.
Well, after all, the best camera that you can have is the one that you have in your pocket. And as I've been getting older too, back in the day, I used to go on a trip, I'd pack my DSLR, I'd pack some action cameras, I'll pack a couple of smartphones. These days, I try to really pick and choose what I bring with me. And for the most part, I just prefer to just bring my phone, and I trust that my phone can actually capture the moment and also as a content creator also be able to shoot great videos.
I've been a photographer for now, I don't know, almost 2 decades now. I used to carry all the camera gear I could, telephoto lens, a prime lens, a ultra wide, a macro, lugging around 20-30 kgs of backpacks wherever I go when I'm traveling. Frankly, in the last few years, I'm just taking my phone. My requirements, the phones are doing everything else, and smartphones have completely changed that industry, and then everyone's just traveling with their phones, including me.
That is what I also observe everywhere with my colleagues, myself. Everyone is just carrying the smartphones with them. It's as you said, the best camera is the one you have with you. We have reached a quality level with smartphones that is so good and sufficient. The benefit of having that compact smartphone always with you is much, much bigger than that small benefit you might have from a system camera or anything else.
I've been thinking a lot of this is actually thanks to your partnership, thanks to you working together and bringing together your expertise. Otherwise, perhaps had you not worked together, this wouldn't have been possible.
Cameras has been a very big direction for us, but the amount of leap that we have been able to take, so I think the huge chunk of credit goes to what ZEISS has done with us and given us the expertise when it comes to optics. Their experience in being in the imaging industry for so long, it gives a huge advantage to us compared to other brands.
Oliver, I'm not just saying this because you're here, but whenever I do buy a new lens for my DSLR, if I have an option, I would always go with the ZEISS model.
That's great to hear. And you always have to keep in mind the target groups of the products. Naturally, there is still a place for very professional equipment, very professional lenses and applications where you need that in cinematography for professional photographers. But for the mass market, for the regular user, the smartphone is the camera device.
I mean, that said, of all of these devices, the smartphone really is the smartest considering the amount of processing power that's in them these days. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on generative AI and the kinds of photos that users can create with it?
AI is a big topic and definitely will change the way we are looking to image in the future, and I personally think it will be important in the future to have kind of definition what is a real photograph, even with some improvements with the help of AI and algorithms and so on, and from which point on you cannot really talk anymore of a photo.
Completely agree with what Oliver just said. In the long term, if you see before how photographs were made, right? People started using the metal sheets and then we went to film. Now we are going towards the generative AI. So I think it's just how the world grows. We are totally embracing it. We are not against it and we are working on it as well.
We've definitely come a long way, and not to date myself, but I remember back in college I used to spend plenty of time in the darkroom making minor tweaks to my photographs so that the final photo, the one that I develop, matches what I have in my head. And then, we moved to an era of Photoshop where you could do all of that on a computer. And then these days you have generative AI and the possibilities are endless. And, now that I think about it, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to tell stories. We're all just trying to create content.
Yeah, the ultimate output is people want a picture or people want a video. The tool just keeps improving.
We have to keep in mind that photography never showed reality. So it was always an interpretation of the reality. AI is just the latest tool.
I love what both of you have said. At the end of the day, really, as technology continues to improve and the art of photography continues to evolve with generative AI and whatnot, really what matters is the tools that we use, and what's important is that users have access to the best tools.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, thanks guys. I really enjoyed talking to both of you. This little trio that we've created is cool because we kind of represent the different type of camera user. You have Keshav, who is the pro, you have Oliver, who's the snap shooter, then you have me as a creator in between who also likes to film video. And I'd like to thank both of you and Vivo and ZEISS for actually creating great tools, not just for people like me, but for all kinds of users.
It's a pleasure, and it was such fun talking to you. I really hope we can have another conversation again and we talk about more things. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward maybe for the next interview, for the next generation of devices, and I'm really excited of what's going to come.
We can definitely do this regularly. Every year, if you'd like, the Billie Eilish Vanity Fair interview comes to mind, and there's so much happening in the tech space that I can't even imagine to think what it would be like to look back after 3 years and 5 years' time.
Totally, would love to do that.
And that was my interview with Keshav Chugh of Vivo and Oliver Schindelbeck of ZEISS. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, you know the drill, folks. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we publish new videos. Follow me on social media for all the behind-the-scenes fun stuff, and for news and updates, make GadgetMatch.com your daily habit. Until the next video, I'm Michael Josh. Thanks for dropping by.